I've been toying with this idea of seeing what these skills in Siege of Winterfell actually do, because it's a lot of information out there, and I'm gonna try to make sense out of it and explain, maybe do some rankings and see what would be the best formations to use for your deployments in Siege of Winterfell. I hope you enjoy, and let's go. Alright, so let's start with cavalry commanders, and I'm going to separate this into multiple videos because I just realized that if I do this in one go, it'll probably take like half an hour. So here we go with cav commanders then. Alright, so let's start with a commander that we're not actually going to use in our deployments because of her skills, but we can use this as a template to understand how these skills are explained by the game. So this is Genie, and she has one active skill and one passive skill. The passive skill is cavalry defense, and it's like one of the most unusable skills out there, so we're probably not going to use this commander. Now, looking at the active skill though, we can understand how the skills are explained. At the top you have the rage cost and the cooldown. The rage is just like the might in Weirwood. It accumulates by being hit and over time, right? And once you have 800 accumulated, she will cast the skill. Also, there's a cooldown of 12. I'm assuming that means 12 seconds, so you cannot cast this more than once every 12 seconds. Now, the skill itself, this is a damage skill. So what it does, it will cast damage on the exact opponent that you are fighting, and it will cast certain damage by its coefficient. Now, Genie's coefficient is 540. I think I've seen coefficients as high as 1200. So it's not a great damage, but it's a damage skill. Now, the next part is Fear of War. Now, what this does, it's a active effect cast, like a debuff cast on your opponent. So, and what it does, it's making them unable to attack you with normal attacks or counter attacks, and increases your cavalry defense and health by 150%. Now, all that lasts 7 seconds, so 7 seconds that your opponent will not be able to attack you with their troop attacks is a pretty good skill, but there are better ones out there. So, one other thing, now the normal attack is basically, you attack, they attack, it is active. The counter attack is the attack that happens when you attack an army in Siege of Winterfell that is not, that's like AFK, so they will still attack you back with counter attack. So moving on to serious commanders, first up is Merlin Peak, and he comes with 2 passive skills, cavalry health and cavalry attack, 150% of each, and you can see that's the gold quality, of course. So that's pretty good. It adds up to your cavalry deployment, and it's probably a good choice since there aren't a lot of options for cav only deployments. Now, moving on to the active skill, he has a rage cost of 650. Remember, Gene had 800, so his skill is cheaper. The cooldown is the same, 12 seconds. However, the dealt damage, the coefficient is much higher. It's 960 as opposed to 560. So, yeah, quite an increase. Now, also looking at the effects, he has a self-buff effect, and that is to increase attack of cavalry by an additional 150%. Now, as it says in parentheses, it does not stack, so that means that it will increase that attack, but if there's another existing effect, I'm guessing the bigger one will be the one that takes effect, and the other one would not be applied. But if you have this, you add the 150 on top of the existing 150, so for those 4 seconds out of every 12 seconds you would have 300% cavalry attack from Merrill as opposed to only 150%. So it's a pretty decent, and I guess the dealt damage also helps. I'd say it's a good commander to use in your deployment. Moving on to our next commander. This is actually going to be Lena Waters. My Romanian roots push me to call her Lana instead. It's actually, for me, it's sending me to a comedy show. But moving on from that, Lena has 3 passive skills. She has all cavalry stats: health, attack, and defense increased by up to 150% on gold quality, of course, and has a very nice active skill as well, starting with the fact that the rage cost is only 500, so it's much lower than the other 2 that we've looked at, and the cooldown is the same. But what this skill does, it grants the effect Enraged, increasing attack by 45%, and also does Tranquility, which has a 75% chance to trigger, removing and granting immunity to all debuffs for 4 seconds. So it removes all debuffs and also makes you immune for 4 seconds out of every 12 seconds to any effects from your enemy, and increasing 45% attack, total attack even. So a pretty good skill. Let's move on to the next commander on the list, and that's our own Robb Stark, the young wolf. And he comes with a great array of skills, 2 passive skills and 1 active skill. He's good for the survivability over cavalry deployment, because he brings defense and health up to 150% each, and 1 active skill. Now his active skill is very expensive, 900 rage cost, so pretty expensive, but it's the first skill that we're reviewing that is actually an AoE skill. So what does that mean? It means that it will affect not only the army that you're fighting, but any other targets that may appear in that cone that's referred to in the description. Up to 3 targets, of course. So it doesn't hit everybody, but it does hit 3 targets, not just 1. It also comes with the Dispel effect. Now the Dispel effect will block those 3 targets from receiving any buffs for 4 seconds, as well as remove any active buffs they have at the time of the skill usage. So a pretty good skill, and again, it's AoE, it's very important. Everything in real-time strategy is based on AoE. Usually everybody goes for AoE for their massive extra damage that you can cause. Well, almost there with the list of cavalry commanders. Next up is Russell. Russell comes with only 1 passive skill and only 1 active skill, and the active skill, of course, is the passive skill is of course pretty good. He comes with cavalry attack 150%. That's pretty good. And let's have a look at his active skill, which may make or break whether he's good or not. The rage cost is very small, 500. Cooldown is the same as all the skills that we've seen so far, 12 seconds. Now this one deals damage 600 coefficient, so not great, only to 1 target, and it reduces target's rage by 200 and reduces total attack, defense, and health by 100% for the enemy. So 100% total attack. It reduces no matter who you're fighting. It takes 100% off their totals. That's a pretty good skill in my book, and also reducing the rage minimizes the skill damage that you would receive. So pretty good skill in my book. Well, last commander that I'm going to review is Kevin, and to be honest, he is a great addition to your deployment, as you'll see in just a moment. He comes with 2 passive skills, but those passive skills are total skills. That means they improve attack and health up to 75% on gold quality. So a very, very nice addition, and you will see that he also has a very nice active skill. Now, why is that? Rage cost is 1000, so that's a lot. Cooldown is the same, but after 3 seconds creates an AoE damage. Again, AoE, that's like the epitome of any RTS. You are gonna go for AoE. AoE is where it's at. So what this one does, it creates AoE damage region at target location. So at your enemy's location, it creates a circle around them and lasts 4 seconds, dealing skill damage in a coefficient of 300 to all enemies in range, with of course a maximum of 5 targets every second, and inflicting them with this spell. Also, enemies have a 50% chance to trigger this spell, becoming immune to and removing all buffs, also inflicting enemies with enfeebled, reducing their attack damage by 35%. So a lot of effects, a lot of effects that this skill has. Yeah, the damage itself might not be great, only damage coefficient 300, but all the other things adding up and stopping skills, buffs, and reducing total damage. Again, great skill. He's definitely top 3. So I'm going to end this by ranking the commanders that we have reviewed. Now, of course, you may agree or disagree with my ranking. This is just my personal opinion, and I will start by putting Jean at the very bottom because, as we agreed at the beginning, she has a very bad passive skill, so that will be the lowest one. Now, battling for the next position will be Russell and I guess Merrill. Now, I do normally use Merrill above Russell, but it's a personal choice. And just above that, we will find kind of equal, to be honest, Rob and Lena. Now, I don't have Lena, and that's just because, well, I don't really base myself on Cav commanders. And at the very top, I will place Kevin. Kevin and Rob have AoE skills. Lena has all 3 passive skills, so she's pretty good. But at the very top, I put Kevin because of that interesting AoE skill that he has. So, hope you agree. But if you don't, let me know in the comments, and stay tuned. I'll have an episode for all the other types of commanders: spearmen, infantry, and bows. And yes, bows are good in Siege of Winterfell. So, cheers, take care. This was Nergal. Bye bye.